Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. It's 6 o'clock. Thank you, Nandakumar Prabhu, for chanting with us. Welcome everybody for the session this morning. Meenuji is in Canada, so I will proceed ahead with the scheduled program. You all can hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So as we have been doing for the last few days, we'll do the Sansaradhava prayers. Anybody interested to recite the beautiful prayers of Sri Guru Ashtakam? Aarti Mataji, you want to?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Sure. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Samsara dhava nalalita loka tarana karunya khankanatvam praptasa kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Mahaprabhu Kirtanita Gita Vaditramatyan Manasorasina Romanchakam Shrutranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shri Vigraharadan Nityanana Shringaradan Mandir Marjanadao Yukta Sapaktam Cha Niyuna Jatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Chaturavita Shri Bhagavad Prashada Sadhavana Traptan Haribhakta Sangan Katveva Traptim Bhajata Sadheva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shri Radhika Madhyarapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanamnam Pratishana Savatan Lolupasaha Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Nikunja Yunorati Keli Siddhai Yayali Vira Yuktirapekshniya तत्रातीताक्षत अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षाधारित्वेन संसदशस्त्रैर्युक्तस तथा भवयेदेव सधवि किन्तु प्रभोर्यः प्रियेव दास्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यशस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यशस्य प्रसादात् नागति कुतोऽपि ध्यायान् स्तुपं तस्य यशस्वी वन्दे यशस्वी सन्त्यं वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीमद्गुरोरष्कं विदधुजे ब्रह्मे मुहूर्ते पतति प्रयाणात् यष्टेन वृन्दावन्नाथ साक्षात् सेवेव लाभ्य जानुषो नता एव Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Guru Ashtakam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, thank you Prabhuji.
Thank you, Aarti Mataji. Beautiful recitation. As all of us know that this is what we do in Mangal Aarti at all the temples across the entire world. And just a trivia, when I first visited ISKCON Vrindavan, ISKCON Krishna Balaram temple, I think the Aarti is different there in the Mangal Aarti. That's Vibhavari Sesha. So I hope one of these days we can sing that too. Anyone interested to volunteer to read the translation? Let me see who is there. Seema, it's your day. You want to read the translation?
Sure, Prabhuji. Let me just...
Can you see my screen?
I do.
Yeah.
The spiritual master, translation, the spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the material afflicted world by extinguishing the technical difficulties,
No worries.
the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master, who is the ocean of auspicious qualities, chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and praying, musical instruments, and the spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end, he feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from the eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform their similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious foods, analyzed as that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasad, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the grooves of Vrindavan. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hare Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master. At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. One who, with great care and alteration, loudly recites this beautiful prayer to the spiritual master during the Brahma Muhurta obtains direct service to Krishna, the Lord of Vrindavan, at the time of his death.
Thank you, Seema. This is a special week for Seema. That's why I said if she pardons me for sharing this, she's getting initiated at the end of this week by His Holiness Radhanand Maharaj. So thank you. I'm very excited. I always felt that, this prayer we sing throughout the ISKCON temples, and we are actually doing Aarti of Krishna. So one thought has always come to my mind is, why is that so, that it is all about the spiritual master, but we are actually praying to Krishna? And the other day, I was reading somewhere that because we don't have the qualification to do the Aarti to the Lordship directly, we are actually praying to our to Srila Prabhupada, to our Guru Maharaj, to our spiritual master, that they can give arati to the Lord, and henceforth we are actually glorifying the Guru so that he can do so to the Lordship himself. And then the first paragraph is actually my favorite, which signifies how the world works, or how the whole philosophy works. That the ocean, there is a fire in the world, and where is how is the fire going to be extinguished? It's going to be extinguished from the water in the ocean. The ocean is Krishna, and he because the ocean cannot come directly to the land to pour fire, so he uses the medium of the spiritual master in the form of a cloud. So as the water evaporates from the ocean and becomes a cloud, same way the spiritual master becomes a cloud, and then he pours the water onto the forest fire, which is in our hearts, which is on our material planet. And henceforth, that explains the whole understanding of what's the relationship between the Lord, our spiritual master, and the jivas who are suffering due to that material fire. So that's one of my favorite paragraphs, or the verse. Sansar dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. So we'll move on to the next part of our session. We'll read for maybe 15-20 minutes. Let's see who all is there so I can pick on people. They don't pick on themselves. Anybody interested to read today? Okay, I'll do the service then today of reading. So I put the bookmark yesterday. We finished up till Go Back Home. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading Krishna book. The instruction, this is where we're starting from. The instruction given here by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the gopis was not at all sarcastic. Such instruction should be taken very seriously by all honest women. If you remember yesterday, we read that Krishna was telling the gopis that why you here, you should go home, you should take care of your family, household, and telling them that that's your prescribed duty, as we read about. And here Prabhupada is writing, such instructions should be taken very seriously by all honest women. The chastity of woman is specifically stressed here by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, this principle should be followed by any serious woman who wants to be elevated to a higher status of life. Krishna is the center of all affection for all living creatures. When this affection is developed for Krishna, one surpasses and transcends all Vedic injunctions. This was possible for the gopis because they saw Krishna face to face. This is not possible for any woman in the conditioned state. Unfortunately, sometimes a rascal following the philosophy of monism or oneness very irresponsibly takes advantage of this Rasalila to imitate the behavior of Krishna with the gopis, entice many innocent women, and mislead them in the name of spiritual realization. As a warning, Lord Krishna has herein hinted that what was possible for the gopis is not possible for ordinary women. Although a woman can actually be elevated by the advanced Krishna consciousness, she should not be entitled she should not be enticed by an impostor who says that he is Krishna. She should concentrate her devotional activities in chanting about Krishna and meditating upon him, as is advised herein. One should not follow the men called Sahajiyas, the so-called devotees who take everything very lightly. When Krishna spoke in such a discouraging way to the gopis, they became very sad, for they thought that their desire to enjoy the rasa dance with Krishna would be frustrated. Thus, they became full of anxiety. Out of great sadness, the gopis began to breathe very heavily. Instead of looking at Krishna face to face, they bowed their heads and looked at the ground, and they began to draw various types of curved lines on the ground with their toes. They were shedding heavy tears, and their cosmetic decorations were being washed from their faces. The water from their eyes mixed with the kumkum on their breast on their breast and fell on the ground. They could not say anything to Krishna but simply stood there silently. By their silence, they expressed that their hearts were grievously wounded. The gopis were not ordinary women. In a sense, they were on an equal level with Krishna. They are his eternal associates. As it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, they are expansions of the pleasure potency of Krishna, and as his potency, they are non different from him. Although they were depressed by the words of Krishna, they did not like to use harsh words against him. Yet, they wanted to rebuke Krishna for his unkind words, and therefore they began to speak in faltering voices. They did not like to use harsh words against Krishna because he was their dearmost, their heart and soul. The gopis had only Krishna within their hearts. They were completely surrendered and dedicated souls. Naturally, when they heard such unkind words, they tried to reply, but in the attempt, torrents of tears fell from their eyes. Finally, they managed to speak. Krishna, they said, you are very cruel. You should not talk like that. We are full-fledged, surrendered souls. Please accept us and don't talk in that cruel way. Of course, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you can do whatever you like, but it is not worthy of your position to treat us in such a cruel way. We have come to you leaving everything behind just to take shelter of your lotus feet. We know that you are completely independent and can do whatever you like, but we request you don't reject us. We are your devotees. We should accept us. You should accept us as Lord Narayan accepts his devotees. There are many devotees of Lord Narayan who worship him for salvation and he awards them salvation. Similarly, how can you reject us when we have no shelter other than your lotus feet? Oh dear Krishna, they continued, you are the supreme instructor. There is no doubt about it. Your instructions to women to be faithful to their husbands and merciful to their children, to take care of household affairs, and to be obedient to the elderly members of the society are surely just according to the tenets of the Shastras. But we know that one may perfectly observe all these instructions of the Shastras by keeping oneself under the protection of your lotus feet. Our husbands, friends, family members, and children are all dear and pleasing to us because of your presence. For you are the super soul of all living creatures. Without your presence, one is worthless. When you leave the body immediately dies, and according to the injunction of the Shastras, a dead body must immediately be thrown into a river or burned. Therefore, ultimately, you are the dearmost personality in this world. By placing your faith and love in your personality, we are assured of never being bereft of husband, friends, sons, or daughters. If a woman accepts you as the supreme husband, then she will never be bereft of her husband, as in the bodily concept of life. If we accept you as our ultimate husband, then there's no question of being separated, divorced, or widowed. You are the eternal husband, eternal son, eternal friend, and eternal master. And one who enters into a relationship with you is eternally happy. Since you are the teacher of all religious principles, your lotus feet have to be worshipped first. Accordingly, the Shastras state Acharya Upasana, the worship of your lotus feet is the first principle. Besides that, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, you are the only enjoyer, you are the only proprietor, and you are the only friend. As such, we have come to you, leaving aside the so-called all so-called friends, society, and love, and now you have become our enjoyer. Let us be everlasting enjoyed by you. Be our proprietor, for that is your natural claim, and be our superior friend, for you are naturally so. Let us thus embrace you as the supreme beloved. Then the gopis told lotus-eyed Krishna, please do not discourage our long cherished desires to have you as our husband. Any intelligent man who cares for his own self-interest reposes all his loving spirit in you. Persons who are simply misled by the external energy, who want to be satisfied by false concepts, try to enjoy themselves apart from you. The so called husband, friend, son, daughter, father, and mother are all simply sources of material misery. No one is made happy in this material world by having a so called father, mother, husband, son, daughter, and friend. Although the father and mother are expected to protect the children, there are many children who are suffering for want of food and shelter. There are many good physicians, but when a patient dies, no physician can revive him. There are many means of protection, but when one is doomed, none of the protective measures can help. And without your protection, the so called sources of protection simply become sources of continued distress. We therefore appeal to you, dear Lord of all lords. Please do not kill our long cherished desires to have you as our supreme husband. Dear Krishna, as women, we are certainly satisfied when our hearts are engaged in the activities of family affairs, but our hearts have already been stolen by you. We can no longer engage them in family affairs. Besides that, although you have repeatedly asked us to return home, and that is a very appropriate instructions, unfortunately we have been stunned here. Our legs have no power to move a step from your lotus feet. Therefore, even at your request we return home, what shall we do there? We have lost all our ability to act without you. Instead of engaging our hearts in family affairs as women, we have now developed a different type of lust which is continuously blazing in our hearts. Now we request you, dear Krishna, to extinguish that fire with your beautiful smile and the transcendental vibration emanating from your lips. If you do not agree to do us this favor, we should certainly be burned in the fire of separation. In that condition, we should simply think of you and your beautiful features and give up our bodies immediately. In that way, we think it will be possible for us to reside at your lotus feet in the next life. Dear Krishna, If you say that if we go home, our respective husbands will satisfy the lusty flames of our desire, we can only say that is no longer possible. You've given us a chance to be enjoyed by you in the forest and have touched our breasts once in the past, which we accepted as a blessing, as do the goddesses of fortune who are enjoyed in the Vaikuntha Lokas by you. Since we have tasted this transcendental enjoyment, we are no longer interested in going to anyone but you for the satisfaction of our lust. Dear Krishna, the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune are always worshipped by the demigods. Although she is always resting on your chest in the Vaikuntha planet, she underwent great austerity and penance to have some shelter at your lotus feet, which are always covered by tulsi leaves. Your lotus feet are the proper shelter of your servitors, and the goddess of fortune, instead of abiding on your chest, comes down and worships your lotus feet. We have now placed ourselves under the dust of your lotus feet. Please do not reject us, for we are fully surrendered souls. Dear Krishna, you are known as Hari. You destroy all the miseries of all living entities, especially of those who have left their homes and family attachment and have completely taken to you. We have left our home with the hope that we shall completely devote and dedicate our lives to your service. We are simply begging to be engaged as your servants. We do not wish to ask you to accept us as your wives. Simply accept us as your maid servants. Since you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and like to enjoy the Parakya Ras and are famous as transcendental woman hunter, we have come to satisfy your transcendental desires. We are also after our own satisfaction, for simply by looking at your smiling face, we have become very lusty. We have come before you decorated with all ornaments and dress, but until you embrace us, all our garments and beautiful features remain incomplete. You are the Supreme Person, and if you complete our dressing attempt as the Purusha Bhushana or the male ornament, then all our desires and bodily decorations are complete. Dear Krishna, we have simply been captivated by seeing you with tilaka and with earrings, and by seeing your beautiful face covered with scattered hair and bearing your extraordinary smile. Not only that, but we are also attracted by your arms, which always give assurance to the surrendered souls. And although we are also attracted by your chest, which is also always embraced by the goddess of fortune, we do not wish to take her position. We shall simply be satisfied by being your maid servants. If you accuse us, however, of encouraging prostitution, then we can only ask, where is that woman within these three worlds who is not captivated by your beauty and the rhythmic songs vibrated by your transcendental flute? Within these three worlds, there's no distinction between men and women in relation to you, because both men and women belong to the marginal potency or prakriti. No one is actually the enjoyer or the male, everyone is meant to be enjoyed by you. There is no woman within these three worlds who cannot but deviate from her path of chastity once she is attracted to you, because your beauty is so sublime that not only men and women, but also cows, birds, beasts, and even trees, fruits, and flowers, everything, everyone, and everything becomes enchanted, and what to speak of ourselves. It is, however, definitely decided that as Lord Vishnu is always protecting the demigods from the onslaught of demons, so you have also advented in Vrindavana just to give the residents protection from all kinds of distress. Oh dear friend of the distressed, kindly place your hand on our burning breast as well as our heads, because we have surrendered unto you as your eternal maidservants. If you think, however, that your lotus like palms might be burned to ashes if placed on our burning breast, let us assure you that your palms will feel pleasure instead of pain, as the lotus flower, although very delicate and soft, enjoys the scorching heat of the sun. So I'll stop there, dear devotees. We have 4 minutes. We can take reflections, um, comments, thoughts which come to your mind after we read this session today. Um, Vishwanath Prabhu, if you're able to unmute you, we would love to hear from you, if possible. Maybe not. Um, so today, just to summarize, while you people are thinking of your reflections, Krishna yesterday had given arguments for why gopis should go back to their homes. who had left their husbands, their families, their parents, and today very masterfully um, gopis were counteracting those arguments. They were talking like learned scholars, readers of the Shastras, readers of Bhagavad Gita, the bearers of the knowledge, how they are saying that, Krishna is the supreme husband, he's the supreme family, he's the supreme proprietor, he's the supreme enjoyer. They very nicely um, uh, commented on how they'll be benefited from uh, surrendering to his lotus feet, just as Goddess Lakshmi does for Lord Narayan. And really, I was amazed how they were each and every argument of Krishna was being refuted by the gopis, and Krishna was patiently listening to them. They also use the word lusty desires, and I think the reflection I have is that we should all try to learn uh, from uh, from the gopis, because they say that Kesha Swami says that the lust in this material world is actually love in the spiritual world, and the gopis and Krishna always live in the spiritual world, whether on this material planet or in the spiritual kingdom. And it is the love which they are expressing for Krishna, which is what the desire we should carry in our hearts, to kind of go close to Krishna and become dear to him. They also gave that argument that in this material planet, whether one is a man or a woman, none of them are actually Purushas, because Purusha, the word Purusha means the enjoyer, and Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So the gopis were asking Krishna not to be cruel and accept them at his lotus feet as their maid servant, as his maid servants. So that was a little summary, and would be happy to hear from any of you if they have any comments and anything which you liked in the reading today.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing and your reflections and leading us today. This is really nice. Can you hear me?
Ananya, your voice is a little muffled, but go ahead. Go ahead, speak.
Can you hear me now?
Much better,
Okay.
Steve.
Yeah, I think gopis are teaching us so nicely. Yesterday, I was just reflecting on how Krishna takes test even when you're at his doorstep. And today, gopis, clearly not only aced the test, but taught us how to, have the right mood. And like you said, the lust is love, even in this this material world for gopis. And that is the lust we need to create in ourselves. And Gopi said it so beautifully that Krishna, if we accept you as the husband, then we have everything. We have husbands, we have sons, we have daughters. And that is what I also see in my personal or in my life, where some friends and family, got attached to Krishna. Initially, there might have been some strain with their husbands, their family, but with sincere practice, they come to a point where everybody gets connected to Krishna. And I'm sure you have seen it too. So many people, devotees in our congregation, are such good examples of that. So just wanted to share that, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Anandni, and such a beautiful thought as you reminded us that Krishna doesn't take anything away; he just adds more flavor to whatever you have in life, and it kind of makes us a better husband, wife, spouse, partner, father, mother, parent, grandparent. So it's really important that we imbibe that mood of gopis and put Krishna in the center of everything, and then everything will fall in place. Uh, Seema Mataji, you have any comments? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Prabhuji, I appreciate everyone's thoughts and comments, and I'm just kind of taking everything in and getting ready for this weekend. Thank you.
Very bold. We're very happy for you.
Thank you so
Parthiba,
much.
Thank you. Aarti Mataji, any comments from you?
Shri Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful reading, and big fairy bowl to Seema Mataji. Good luck, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so we'll continue our reading tomorrow, same time in the Sangha. But today we'll end with the Vaishnav Pranam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnav Gan ki jai.
Jai.
Paad ki
Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the
Krishna.
wonderful session.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.